Well, just yesterday, the IRS announced starting on January 29th, it's going to begin accepting and processing 2023 federal income tax returns. The deadline, as always, for filing your taxes is April 15th, which feels like it always sneaks up on us. Here now to give us some advice on filing our taxes, we've got Josh Landman. He is a financial advisor in College Station. Josh, thank you so much for being with us today.
Alex, thanks for having me as part of the most exciting time of the year, tax time.
It is for some people, yes. It is the most exciting. For others, it is not so much fun. First up, before we even begin to file, we've got a couple weeks still, 20 days before we can even file. What do you recommend people get their affairs in order? What paperwork do we need to have before we even think about filing our taxes?
So all of anything you do with money, you want to have accounted for. So all adds up to your taxable income. So big ones when you work somewhere, W-2s, 1099s. I tell people if you do something big with money, account for it. Be aware of it, be ready to file it, your tax return.
Receipts, that's a good time to get some receipts in order as well, so that when you do eventually go see somebody or sit down to do your taxes, you have all that paperwork and you're not scrambling going back and forth.
100%. They did raise the standard deduction. We may talk about it a little bit, but that made it less. A few years ago, they raised it each year, but the big one was with the Trump tax reform. They make it less where you itemize and need as many receipts, but yes, 100%. Save those receipts, keep track of them, bring them to your tax preparer if you want to, or if you do them yourself, make sure you have an easy way to track.
As a financial planner, is it often that you see people who are maybe unaware of the tax process, or is it kind of, tax law is probably the most confusing thing that's out there, but is this process kind of easier to understand?
Well, I'm gonna go with that, Alex. As I've seen in my office, there is a huge misunderstanding of how taxes work, and I'm not sure this was where you're going with it, but I'm gonna go this way.
Yeah.
So tax brackets, how you pay taxes. We have a progressive system. So all that means is the more you make, the more you pay. And the number one misunderstanding that people have in my office is they'll say, "Josh, I don't want to make any more money, because if I do, I'm going to pay more taxes."
In that tax bracket.
And that's that you go into a higher tax bracket, but you always want to make more money. You're always better off. And so I want to mention just a basic, if I were in your shoes, what I would want to know is right now the standard deduction just for being alive for married filing jointly, so my wife's Whitney, for me and Whitney is $29,200. So our first $29,200 you do not have to pay tax on. After that, the next tax bracket, or the first tax bracket you get into, is the 10% rate where it's $0 to $23,200. I may be going too detailed, but after that, the next bracket is the $23,201 and $94,300 is taxed at 12%. Just because you enter that next bracket does not mean all your money is taxed at 12%. It's only the portion in that bracket.
Oh, that makes it.
That's where people get confused.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned all these things that it can get confusing with tax. So when is it better to go to a tax preparer, or is it better to use one of those filing websites?
I'd say if you're pretty simplistic and easy, single, don't have a family, just getting a W-2 for your compensation, you could probably file it yourself. I am a believer in going to see a tax preparer or CPA. Number one, there's peace of mind. You could do it for 1 year and they may say, "Hey, you're good, you don't need to come see me," then you're good going forward. As you become more complex, you get married, you buy a house, you have kids, you make big financial transactions, buy a car, it adds up to where I think there's a lot of value going to see a CPA or tax preparer.
And certainly having that peace of mind. Finally, agency leadership says there's going to be more walk-in centers to help taxpayers this year. What advice do you give to somebody who's maybe filing taxes for the first time?
Do it early. Get your stuff in order as soon as you can. I would say right now, April 15th, you said sneak up on us.
Yes.
It seems like we've got some time, but it will sneak up. Do it now. I know at Edward Jones, we don't send out our 1099s. The latest we can send them out is February 15th. So you may have some lag with when you get some of your tax documents, but do it as early as you can.
Yeah, good advice. And hopefully you'll be getting those refunds this year, which the IRS, they say, less than 21 days. We'll see if they hold to that.
Yes.
For those refunds. Josh Landman, a financial expert here in College Station. Thank you so much for your helpful insight.
Thanks, Alex.
All right. When we come back.